everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Hannah, and I love to talk about things that I see on the internet and I find interesting. Today, we're gonna talk about one of these things. I don't have a lot of answers, but I have a lot of questions, and I've been thinking about this topic a lot, and so here we go. It is something that I observed mostly on Instagram Reels. It's this claim that a lot of, I think, fashion girlies, but other influencers too, make online about them being introverts. And I can't make sense of it, so let's talk about it.
I'm a major introvert, so anytime I have a social event, it requires resting up like a week before and after to re energize. That might be a little bit overly dramatic.
So I encounter, as a woman on the internet, a lot of fashion content and cute girls doing makeup and vlogging their lives. I started to notice already a few years back, but now increasingly I've been getting a lot of these kinds of content, especially on Instagram, that a lot of these creators state that they are introverts. And when I first heard it, I thought it was hilarious. Like, I just couldn't make sense of it. I was like, how can you be an introvert and put your life online? This doesn't make sense to me. And I was really kind of laughing it off. And then I started to recently really think about it, like what it means to be an introvert or an extrovert and what it means to be online with these traits. And I was thinking about it so much that I actually had to talk about it with a few people and try to really like dissect it and make sense of it. What are introverts and extroverts? These are personality traits, I think, but don't quote me on this. I'm not a psychologist. We can like trace it back to Carl Jung, who was a Swiss psychiatrist. I looked this up. And he kind of came up with like the whole MBTI thing.
Correction, he did not come up with the MBTI, but his archetypes are very similar, and research also recognizes this.
That is really popular now, which is completely not scientific. So like do it because it's funny, but like I've done it a few times and I don't remember what I am because every single time it's something different. But I'm definitely an extrovert. Anyway, so like introverts and extroverts are one of these like personality types that are kind of core to, I don't know, understand ourselves. And at a very like kind of basic level, we can understand that introverts are the kind of people who crave to be alone, the quiet type, the shy type, more afraid of like speaking up in groups, or that is kind of the stereotype of an introvert. Whereas the extrovert is kind of the opposite. It's the social butterfly. It's the people who love to hear their voice and who like love to talk and like be among people. Another kind of interpretation, I don't know which one is really true, is that introverts are the kind of people who get energy by being alone, while extroverts are the kind of people who get energy by being with other people. Also, like these things or these personality traits, just like the MBTI, are not like set in stone. Like it really depends on the context. So there's also, I think, this term called ambivert, which just really means that it depends on the context. But there are definitely people who are more like on the introvert side of things and more on the extrovert side. Like I'm an extrovert to the max. Because I'm an extrovert, it's very hard for me to imagine that someone who's not like me would put their face on the internet. I've watched these videos extremely skeptically. I really thought, how can you claim you're an introvert? And then a lot of these people said that the reason why they can do this is because when you actually film and edit videos, you're all alone. It's actually an individual endeavor. So it actually feeds into their introvert life. And now that I'm also kind of making an attempt on doing this, I get it. Like, this is really lonely. But oh my god, what am I talking about? Well, like I don't mean lonely, but it is something that you do individually, and it is just me talking to a camera, and it's really awkward because I'm sitting on the floor in like full makeup talking to my phone. It's silly. So that part I get. I understand that you can film yourself as an introvert and that maybe you can edit as an introvert, but I don't really personally see how would someone who prefers to not be in public and not speak up in public be okay with putting all of this online. Because I'm telling you, it's scary. Like, I made this TikTok video and it's like none of my videos have a lot of views, but that one video has more views than the others. And then I got like comments from strangers and it was really scary. Anyway, so like, how would you do this when you don't even want to talk to people? And then I thought about it, like, maybe it's not about being an introvert or an extrovert, but actually it's about how we build an online persona that is desirable. And hold on, because I have a wild theory about this. Well, it's not really a theory. So I think a lot of influencers claim to be introverts, and it doesn't really matter whether they are actually introverts or not. Like, this is not, I'm not trying to question anyone's perception of themselves. Like, you do you. But let's assume that people are themselves online and they can be introverts, but they also have to emphasize that they're introverts for a few reasons. And one of the reasons is because you are building a brand or an image that has to be somehow consistent within a certain framework. And a lot of the introvert influencers do very similar type of content. It's the slow living and soft girl and what I eat in a day and like cafe hopping and cooking whole foods, you know, the whole image of this like calm life. Whereas a lot of the loud and extroverted influencers are doing very dynamic content. Like, you can really see the difference in how like these TikToks are cut. I will actually insert two examples here. Like, one of them is this like da da da, and they are like bouncing in front of the camera, which I love. I think it's so funny. And then the other one is very slow and very sensual. So this is one thing, like, you have to kind of choose this type to fit in this framework of the kind of influencer you want to be, the kind of image you want to communicate, and also the niche you want to occupy. And the other thing is that I think for some reason, being an introvert is more desirable in our society. And this is where my theory comes in. So I think we're mistaking extroversion to exhibitionism. So being an extrovert doesn't mean that you're an annoying narcissist. It might mean that you're an annoying narcissist, but you can be an introvert and an annoying narcissist. I think introverts are the archetype of the misunderstood, the mysterious, the quiet but deadly, the one that is in the background, but at the end of the story, they come out and save the day. This is something that we see in literature and we see in popular media. And so because of that, there is this romantic image of being an introvert and being creative and misunderstood. And I think being creative and misunderstood is a very good brand on social media. Whereas extroverts are more the villain type. They are the loud ones. They are the ones that take up space. And that is, well, not as desirable. I'm not saying that there are no popular extroverted influencers. I'm just saying that any kind of personality can become an influencer if you know how to build this image or brand. Being an extrovert gets like a bad reputation because we mistake it to being an exhibitionist or being even a narcissist. But actually, we know from research that you can be an introverted narcissist or an introverted exhibitionist. It's harder to imagine because with narcissism, for example, we would associate also someone who loves to like hear their own voice and like be in the center of attention, but it's not necessarily true. And I found some research about this because I was really curious if my theory about this is true. Well, no one actually did research on like introverted and extroverted influencers. There's not that much research with influencers, but we have some research about like personality traits and like media richness. Media richness theory is one of like the classical media theories that kind of rank how different kinds of mediums or communication channels can reproduce actual communication. So like a letter is less rich than a video call, because in a video call you can see someone's like face and hear the tone of their voice, etc., etc. So in this sense, face-to-face conversation is the richest, and like social media or video communication or anything that involves image is also richer than just texting. So research shows that this kind of personality trait, whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, actually interacts with what kind of medium you prefer to use. Introverts are more likely to be comfortable and want to join a discussion when it's, for example, via text, whereas extroverts love face-to-face communication or like video calls. And in this sense, I think this like whole putting your face online as an introvert is a bit still just weird to me to imagine. But what is very important is that introverts are also more likely to use social media, or they use more social media. I think it's measured in time because it is like a safer environment. And I found this research that I think is quite interesting, but the way they phrase it is so problematic, I think. I mean, listen to this. These findings indicate that people who are lonely in their lives and introverted in nature tend to use social networking sites more. Who said that if you're introverted, you're lonely? Like, how is the two things are not the same? According to other researches, introverted individuals give preferences to computer-mediated communication, and extroverted individuals prefer face-to-face communication. Introverted individuals feel uncomfortable in social gatherings and have few friends in real lives, and therefore the virtual world of the internet provide them with a better opportunity to engage in these activities. Social networking sites provides introverts with a platform to present their ideas and beliefs in a non-threatening way, as they feel uncomfortable and expressing themselves in the company of others. According to Barclay, Facebook is described as the ultimate communication platform for people who are more introverted because they can be connected with their own world online and be by themselves at the same time. So actually, maybe jokes on me, and introverted influencers are a real thing, because being an introvert allows you to do all of these things and connect with people while actually not having to be in the same room with said people. The interactions that you have to do to build your brand is actually more suitable for introverted people because it's through commenting, right? Like, it makes sense. So you can be introverted or extroverted when you want to create content, because at the end of the day, it is maybe just about whether you're a narcissist. There's actually research that shows that subclinical narcissism is associated with heavy social media use and more frequent updates on social media. So like, for example, from Facebook studies, like in 15 years ago, right? They've already shown that users with like subclinical narcissist traits would update their timelines about their like diet and exercise routines. So it doesn't matter if you're an introvert or an extrovert. It only matters whether you're a narcissist. So thank you so much for joining me on this brain dump of my unhinged theories about personality traits and being an influencer. These are the kind of things that I think about in the shower. It's the curse of doing social media research. But if you think this was fun or interesting, please give it a like and subscribe and comment, and let's connect on Instagram. And please let me know if you observe any other personality traits and influencers that you think would be interesting to talk about. And I see you in the next one.